is a divided community where you see that people tend to churches and people tend to be quite isolated from each other. And the issues we have here are not just local issues. We have the same issues in many parts of the world where different communities have harmed each other, and we know where the gospel can bring unity. We have so much that really unites us if we focus on the things that bring us together instead of the things that are often smaller issues that bring us apart.
It's one of the great gifts that God gave the Christian church, where people who are filled with His Spirit are able to just simply go and get over themselves and genuinely care about other people. The people in the pew want to do that. They just don't have a way to get it done. Fortunately, in this town, we're able to get the government, the school board, and the churches to sit down together and make a difference. And the end of that story is, for once in a lifetime, it costs no tax money to give hope.
We are here in Florence, South Carolina, by the invitation of Pastor Clyde Odom, whom I met years ago in Brazil. The Apostle Paul wrote that three things would remain: faith, hope, and love. And that's the reason why you're here in this city, to witness a transformation of love that is taking hope to the people. And it always started with faith. Hey, man.
Good, sir. Good, sir. Good to see you.
Pastor Clyde, thank you for inviting me to come visit you after all these years.
Well, again, I want to welcome you here to Florence, South Carolina, USA.
You have invited me to come and see this renaissance of love, something that you call the points of hope. What are the points of hope?
Points of hope are where people are strategically placed to make a difference in the city.
How important it is to have points of hope inside the schools as a strategic place to change society?
Well, first of all, we go into the school as servants to the school. Secondly, I think it's important to understand that a child's life is molded from the ages of about 5 to 12, and it depends on how it's shaped, which way it will end up. So if we can go in and assist the school system and be what that child needs us to be, it may need us to be a father, because 75% of the children in this nation are fatherless in the homes. If we can just let them know that this community cares for you. So we're able to do that in the school and in the community.
The Mayor's Coalition to Prevent Juvenile Crime is a group that brought together the faith-based community and the schools, taking hope to children and teenagers in the city of Florence. In unity abides the power for change, but the efforts to make the difference only started after a tragic event that urged the city and community to engage in transformation.
In 2003-2004, we had a terrible outbreak of violence here in Florence. We lost 24 young people out of our city during that time, 4 to death and 20 others to incarceration. That shocked this community. As the police chief, I had to decide what actions I was going to take. And so we formed a task force among the law enforcement members of the Florence community and gathered some significant intelligence on gang activity. But what we really needed to do was to get at the root of the problem, and I felt that the best way to begin to approach that was to reach out to, in my opinion, the most influential and most important part of our community, and that is the faith community. I've always believed that the church has a place in every aspect of our community. So I sent letters out to all of the pastors inviting them to attend the meeting. Mayor Willis took an interest in what we were doing and began to expand the coalition beyond just the police department and the faith community. He invited in members from the business community as well, and also involved other members of the government.
We got in a room and I said, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to forget about who you work for. Whatever hat it is that you wear, you take it off and throw it out the room. Because as of now, you are working for our young people. This is the Mayor's Coalition to Prevent Juvenile Crime.
And the Mayor's Coalition is an organization that has a whole lot of agencies and volunteer organizations that work together for one prime purpose, and that is to help youth become healthy and productive citizens.
I want you to look not at what our kids are going through, but what they could go through. Out of 30 organizations, how can we make one organization work for these kids? And it was a matter of getting them to see something that wasn't there.
And one of our greatest needs that we found out was that there was nothing to do after 5 p.m. in the areas where we had more trouble with juvenile crime. So we put in teen centers. Juvenile crime statistics dropped off the face of the earth after that.
And I think at the end of a year or 18 months, we had reduced juvenile crime in the city of Florence by 70%.
We did see a drop in juvenile crime in Florence, and I believe that to this day, that drop has been sustained.
We had a jobs program where the youth had to go through a day or two of training, how to dress, how to appear, how to interview, and we got about 167 part-time jobs for the summer.
And being the best at it you be, because you can't wait, man, because you're passionate about it. You love doing what you do, and so you can't wait to get up and do what you do. I won't be here all the time, but while I'm here, I'm going to enjoy where I'm at.
And on a day-to-day basis, we have anywhere from about 100 to 200 kids that come to the program. And one thing I notice about as the young people coming to the door, they realize most of them don't have a place to go when they're after school. When they come in the building, I welcome them with love. And the young people know that I care about them, that I want to see them succeed, and I want the best for them in life. And they'll come and they'll share things in their lives that they wouldn't share with anyone else.
Since that has been happening, I've seen a difference in the teens. They have a level of respect that has risen. The level of cooperation and communication has risen.
The thing I want to see most from this community is a change. Less drug selling, people going to school, more education. I'd rather see this community help each other more than put each other down.
They come to me, I don't have all the resources, I don't have all the answers. I may go to the school district and partner with the school district and let them know, hey look, here's Johnny over here, he made a mistake, but he's a good kid. Can we get him back in school? What can we do to help him? Or either if kids had a little bump in the road, we can go to the police department and say, hey chief, look, here's this kid that had a problem. Sure, he had a problem in the past, but he's a good kid. What can we do to help him get past this point? Whether it's putting him on community service or whatever we can do to help him out to get him back on the right track. And I think about my life, and I think about some of the mentors or some of the people through sports and athletics that gave me a second chance.
Because of our after-school efforts in working with teen centers at night, feeding the children at night, we received awards, one of 6 things in the country to get an award from the National After School Alliance, because we did things that were innovative and, more importantly, with no funding from anywhere.
Everybody provided something out of their resources so that we didn't have to go out and raise money.
Everybody pooled their resources to try to make it better.
And when they did, then we didn't need money, we had the resources.
Most of our work is strictly voluntary, and so with that, we have an expanded base for serving and giving hope to the hopeless.
They come here a lot of times because someone else wants them to be here. Maybe they got in trouble, the judge told them to come here, whatever reason. They are not coming of their own accord.
The fact that they're here tells me that these young people and older, I have students that are about my age even, that come here, they know they need something more in their lives. And education's one component of that, but another component is the spiritual aspect.
We reach a lot of people. We change lives. We sort of adopt people. We get to know people very well. We have people coming from all walks of life. I try my best to speak to every person that I see and try to let them realize that they are important. There is a woman that comes here, she's probably in her late 20s. I had to speak to her probably for 6 months before she would even acknowledge that I spoke to her. Now, a transformation, she comes to me, she wants me to see pictures of her baby and how her baby is doing. And I realize that some people don't respond to kindness because maybe of things they've had happen to them in the past. But now she makes it a point, even if she's down the hall, to come and see me. It's the little things that build the relationships with us. I'm proud of you. Wow, I heard about you. Somebody said something nice about you. We're walking the walk. And everyone here just about does something for the student in some kind of way. There's so many things they do that I'm not even unaware of. Do they need help with a ride? Do they need money for this? Do they need some food? Whatever it is, I know our staff does these things without my knowledge a lot of times. So the staff makes all the difference.
All of us have crisis at times, and when they've gone through tough times and they've shared with me, I've offered to pray for them, and they are very open.
I heard some good news there from my uncle. I heard I passed my test, exit exam, and I thank God for, I work hard on this stuff. And over the summer, I wanted to give up and stuff because I didn't pass it again. I was ready to go to college. But God had a fix for me. I prayed to God, and God told me not to give up and keep going. I came here every time, didn't come late, didn't miss a day, came on time every morning, and it paid off a whole lot.
It's more than a job for me. It's my way of life. Every day I go home thinking about what we did. Every morning I wake up thinking of what we can do today to reach people.
Let's say we did away with crime. These kids still need help.
And it's not just children. You can't impact a child without helping their family too.
You have kids in the morning that show up at McLaurin Elementary School who have not had a meal all night long. And they come in and they eat a meal. You have a young man whose only influence is his drug addict brother.
Whatever positively or negatively impacts in the home, schools reap the consequences of that.
The principals here in Florence have never met a group of people that were willing to get in their boat and swim with them. I mean, little Susie needed a jacket. They don't need a Bible thumper. They don't need somebody to throw a tract at them. They need a jacket, and they need it in Jesus' name. They need a meal to eat. They need food at home. They need somebody to care about them. And I think we have finally discovered that there are a group of principals that genuinely believe that there's a group of people that care.
We have right now approximately 22 children that are being mentored by community members that are ranging from different backgrounds, everything from retired school teachers to police officers or just community members that want to come in and make a difference.
I believe that mentoring is really an important part of getting our kids on the right track, keeping them out of trouble. We in the police department have certified a large number of our police officers as mentors.
She's thinking about playing a trick on somebody, right? What happens when you get in trouble?
We probably have one half of the department now that has been mentor trained, and they're active mentors.
That was awesome! Give me a hug! Yay! I like it.
I'm a registered nurse. I work 1 day a week during the week, and I'm here as much as I can be 4 days a week.
Personally, my wife and I mentor 4 boys every week.
The successes here at North Vista, I think, is a level of commitment by the mentors, as well a desire in our students to change whatever's going on that is not so positive in their lives.
When I first met my student, her self-esteem was very low. She always had discipline problems. Then when I started working with her, within the first week, she turned around and she never went back to that behavior again.
The child has grown so much, and we've gone from being written up all the time, getting in trouble, to such positive character traits.
The first part of this year, a little boy in the 5th grade was being bullied. came to them was to try and take care of them, and they were my boys. They're supposed to be leaders and taking care of those around them because my guys are the strong guys. Those boys don't bully. You know, those boys don't say things about somebody just because they're weaker than they are. In talking to them, two of them started crying, and one of them in particular was the biggest out of the bunch. I was really upset. You know, I said, and I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore, and I left. When I came back the next time, that boy put his arm around me and he hugged me and he said, hey. And in that hey, I understood that he understood. These little boys went from being tough playground bullies to be monitors. It was not only a change in them, but it was a change that they wanted to share with other people. When other kids see kids, especially the strong kids, when others see them being good citizens, being people that God calls us to be, you know, they're going to be that too.
I think one of the key ingredients that the faith-based community brought to the table was that they were used to dealing with children who had problems.
Whether you're white or you're black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic, or whatever racial, ethnic you have, it ought to be that there ought to be somebody that cares about you and gives you some sense of value, and that's what drives faith-based initiative. It's about being able to be human about someone else.
What we found was that the faith-based part of our coalition brought a broader base of understanding of the problem than any of the rest of us had. Each little agency had its own core of issues and core of responsibility. The faith-based part of our coalition weren't limited to those. They were out there helping anybody, everybody, and they knew these different agencies and had relationships with them. It made it much easier then for us to sit down at the table as a large group because the faith-based group already knew a lot of these people.
I understand that one of the key factors for all this faith-based initiative to work are the volunteers.
Well, we're always looking for volunteers. Through the newspaper, through stories that we post in the local paper. We also, the school district also sent out letters to every church inviting them to be a part of this, to recruit members out of their congregations or organizations to be a volunteer. When someone decides to be a volunteer, there's a process that they have to go through. They have to go through an application. From that application, they have to go and have a criminal background check to make sure that they don't have any record. From there, they have to go to a formal training. And when that's complete, they get their identification badge from the school district that allows them to go on the property. And it tells the principals and teachers this is someone that's been qualified and they can trust and begin to use. So we're always looking for volunteers. The volunteers are the backbone of everything that we do. We have been blessed that the Retired Teachers Association have bought in, and all the retired teachers are now volunteers. So they come with experience, knowing the children and knowing what they face and what they need on a daily basis.
The faith-based initiative also encouraged local churches to become directly involved with the school, praying for teachers and students, as well meeting their physical needs. The model is based on the National Adopt a School initiative, which promotes a healthy school and home environment, concentrating in 5 key messages: to stay in school, to do not use or sell alcohol and drugs, to be sexually abstinent, to prevent violence and verbal abuse, and to improve family involvement.
That takes a community-wide approach. You can't rely on the churches, you can't rely on law enforcement alone, you can't rely on the business community, but I think combined, we can make a significant difference.
In 8 years, I've never heard the police department say, we cut juvenile crime. I've never heard the Department of Social Services say, we cut juvenile crime. I've never heard any of those agencies take credit. What they say is, we have cut juvenile crime.
Law enforcement, faith-based, education, community, the business folks, everybody comes together and says, children first, and let's see what we can do about the needs of children.
It's a we effort. It is not an effort that is focused on egos, the letter I. It's we, us, and our.
Because of that, we've kept politics a lot out of ours, and we only talk about helping the kids.
What we did then, our partnership, made a big difference because we're sustaining what we accomplished.
We, and the we is the coalition.
After seeing all that's happening in the city, how do you see the future?
I'm excited about the future because when you look at all that's taking place here in Florence, it is not personality driven, it is people driven. And as long as there are points of hope around this city, in government and education and business, then this transformation will grow and grow and grow until Florence becomes that city that's justice to all.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come to your city and see these points of hope.
Wesley, I'm gonna put some weight on your shoulder. I invited you here so you could record what was taking place in this wonderful city, and to also to take this message to the world that we can see transformation in the lives of our young people, and it can start with one person.
Making a difference in the lives of people is an important thing for every normal human being in the world to do. I guess one of the hardest things to do is to get over yourself.
And we can build a relationship where we're willing to say, listen, there are things we aren't going to agree on. We are not going to agree on. Let's not talk about those right now. Let's talk about the things that we are going to agree on and that we can accomplish. Because we can beat the heads against each other forever and not do any good for the folks of the city of Florence. Or we can work on something that we can accomplish and achieve something.
Now, is everybody in Florence jumping in the boat? Nah, it doesn't matter because it just takes a few boats to make a difference. But I can tell you that it's one of the few things that I've seen in this city that's made a difference in the culture in which we live. It's where people quit talking about faith and put some legs to it.
The Great Commission is for every believer, where God said, go into the world.
Most of the people that hide inside of the church house have no clue what's happening down the street. Now, if you don't get out and find out what's going on, you can't ever meet your needs. I mean, they're meeting the needs of the only thing they see, and that's the people inside the building.
You have to be willing to let God use you. And if you're willing to do that, you can make a difference.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to be a point of hope in your community?